All right, well, good evening. This is the Lee County Zoning Hearing Officer meeting on July 3rd, 2025 at 7 PM. I am Tim Zollinger. I'm the hearing officer. I am an attorney licensed in the state of Illinois. I have been so for 33 years, start 34 in August. If that tells you, that's kind of a scary thought, but I am the hearing officer for this evening's proceedings, and we have two matters that will come before me this evening. We have old business and new business. Madam Zoning Administrator, any reason to take them differently than the order in which they're presented?
No.
So we were going to begin with old business. My role as the hearing officer is to hear the information and evidence that's presented by both the zoning administrator and the petitioner, the church in this case, to listen to that information, consider the evidence, consider the information that's in the record, and make a report and findings regarding your request. And that report and findings will be in writing when it's issued. So this is a relatively informal proceeding. I'm not going to slam a gavel down or call anyone to order or anything of that nature. It's an informal process. The way it will work is the zoning administrator will go first. Once we call your case, she will present her information, and then when she is done, I will turn it over to you. You may ask her questions if you have any. When she is done, then I will turn it over to you, and you as the petitioner may present any information you want me to duly consider in this case. When that is done, the zoning administrator may ask you questions. I may ask you questions for clarification. And then when we're all done, if you have any additional argument or comment you want to make, I'll make sure you get that opportunity, and then we will close your hearing, okay? Any questions? Okay, so for the record, this is old business petition number 25P1646. Petitioner is Grace Fellowship Church in Sublette as owners of real property identified as PIN number 19-22-09-463-005, commonly known as 504 West Main Street, Sublette, Illinois, Sublette Township. And it's before me this evening on a petition for special use, requesting a special use permit for the purpose of operating the existing Grace Fellowship Church. Parcel is currently zoned R2, single-family residential, and is approximately 0.9 of an acre in size. So we will begin. Madam Zoning Administrator.
Okay, do I need to be sworn in or?
Well, I have no one to tell you to be sworn in, so yes, why don't we do that? So if you raise your right hand, you swear to tell the whole truth and nothing but the truth
Yes.
and affirm as such.
Yes.
The record reflects the zoning administrator has been sworn in. If you'd state your name, title.
Alice Hinkle, zoning administrator.
Ms. Hinkle, if you'd proceed, please.
The zoning office was approached by Grace Fellowship Church of Sublette concerning an issue in that they want to add a new structure to the property. When looking at the current zoning of the property, it is zoned R2. Under our current ordinance, this use of a church would require a special use. When the ordinance was passed in 2005, it became a non-conforming use that was allowed to legally maintain its use until a trigger of such as adding it onto the property, changing the structure occurs. So pursuant to 10-10C-7 additions and enlargements, we proceeded with filing the petition for special use here tonight, which I do have as an exhibit, a copy of the special use permit or the petition for special use permit. I have a copy of the notice of public hearing that was sent out to that was posted both at the property, published in the newspaper, and then sent to adjacent property owners. I do have a copy of the notice of public hearing as an exhibit. The notice of public hearing was published in the Amboy newspaper on May 21st, 2025, and I have a copy of the certificate of the publisher as an exhibit. I have the green cards and certified mail receipts for all the adjacent property owners that received a copy of the public notice. I have a copy of the letters that were sent out to the Village of Sublette Planning Commission, the District 2 County Board members, the Lee County Health Department, the Lee County Highway Department, Lee County Soil and Water Conservation District, the Sublette Township Highway Commissioner, and the Sublette Township Supervisor. I also have a copy, as this matter was within a mile and a half of the village of Sublette, and Sublette has an adopted comprehensive plan. This petition was required to go before them, which it did, and I do have an email from the mayor of the village of Sublette stating that this petition was recommended by both the Planning Commission and the Sublette Board, and I have a copy of that also as an exhibit.
So what we will do is zoning administrator exhibit 1 will be the petition for special use. Zoning administrator exhibit 2 will be the notice of public hearing. Zoning administrator exhibit 3 will be the certificate of publication. Zoning administrator exhibit 4 will be the green card certified mail receipts. Zoning administrator 5 will be the letter to the Village Plan Commission, District 2 County Board members, et cetera. And zoning administrator 6 will be the correspondence communication from Sublette, the mayor, with recommendation and indication of no objection. Is that satisfactory?
Yes.
Any concerns or objections to that? Any concerns or, I assume you're asking for those to be duly considered and admitted into the record?
Yes, please.
Any objection or concerns with that? Okay, so they will be admitted and duly considered. Any other comment or input at this time?
I believe that the petition is in line with what our code allows, and I have no objection to the recommendation of this petition.
The one question I would have with regard to the changing of the structure, what is part of the petition for special use, was that tentative plan attached and made part of that?
So that is, it's actually not related to the special use. It is what is going to trigger the need to come into compliance, though. So they will work with the Lee County building official to acquire a building permit once the property is compliant.
Okay, thank you for that clarification. Do you have any questions for the zoning administrator?
No questions.
All right, so the record will reflect none. Any input from the state's attorney's office regarding the zoning administrators?
No, I have nothing.
And did the county receive any written communication regarding the publication and the petition that's being heard tonight? From the neighbors, any communication?
No, I have not received anything.
I'm going to turn over to you now as the church. If you would kindly introduce yourself for the record, state your name, position, or relationship to the church, and then proceed with your request.
Bruce Papich, member of the church, member of the building commission in the church to work on this project. One of the teachers in the church, as well as secretary of the pastoral search committee.
And you are here on a petition for special use. Do you want to outline your request and why you're asking?
We're looking at building a fellowship hall behind the church being the building separate from the church, but having an attached walkway, and then also having modernizing the church with a fire escape that will feed to the ground and also feed into the attached, or the separate building. We're looking at having fellowship areas in their classrooms as the church is growing, and for the youth and for other teaching opportunities in the church. On the east side, the picture that I had printed out, just a representation, but on the east side, we wanted to put a portico for inclement weather entry, where cars could drive up, drop off some of the elderly that we have, or anyone who didn't, has a handicap or other need to come into that section of the building.
So I was given a copy of an overhead, looks like Google Earth. Is that your
Yes,
photograph?
yes, it is.
So I'm going to mark that as petitioner exhibit 1. Is there any objection to that?
No, no objection.
Any
None.
objection from the zoning administrator, state's attorney?
I have no objection.
So we'll include that and make this part of the record as petitioner exhibit 1.
Okay. The other part of building a building on the back is we can add restrooms. As an older building, as the original part of the church is, it doesn't have enough of those facilities. And it will also we've got for the handicap, we've got a lift for the chairs, or a chair lift for going up the stairs, but there will also be in the building a wheelchair lift, so someone wouldn't have to get out of their wheelchair to be able to get up and then get into the church through a second story entry that'll come to the west side of the church to be able to get in.
All right, any other input or comment?
Not that I can think of right now.
Okay, I'm going to walk you through a few questions.
Sure.
The church has been at that location for how long?
Okay, I looked it up and we were both, it's like 1858 is the date on the church.
The original foundation of the church is 1858.
Yes.
And how long has it been operated as the Grace Episcopal Church? I'm sorry, Grace Fellowship.
Grace
Church.
Fellowship took it over, I believe, in 2019 is when they moved. The church was in Amboy, and it's part of a 3-group church, Davis Junction, Ashton, and then Sublette Amboy, but it moved from Amboy to here, and I believe it was 2019.
And prior to Grace Fellowship moving in there in 2019, it had been built as and been an operating church.
Was an operating church prior to that. I don't know the complete history of it. I know, as we told Alice, Billy Graham was a guest speaker there at one time, and it was and we just had the pastor who preached there prior to Grace taking it. He was there 20 years, so I know it went back prior to that.
And you're not aware of any other uses of that structure other than as a church since it's been in existence?
I am not aware of that.
And do you believe that is the petitioner's viewpoint that the allowance of the special use will permit you to engage in this construction to enhance the value of the church itself and the surrounding area?
Yes,
And the usage that you can put to the building?
I didn't notice.
It will also allow you to enhance the use you can have for your building and permit additional religious instruction of access of members of your congregation?
yes.
And have you received any indication or communication from the surrounding property owners of any concerns or objections?
No, on the map behind you, there's a ranch would be the northeast or northwest corner. He came over and asked what we were doing. We told him, he said, oh, great, great. And the straight above across Virginia Street, it's a trucking company. They haven't had any issues.
Any questions from the zoning administrator,
None, thank you.
from the state's attorney's office?
I have no questions. Thank you.
Do you have any additional comment or input you wish to provide before we close your hearing?
Just that the church has been growing. We've got, roughly 30 kids during the winter time, and that's been growing. And then there's youth in there as well. And we look at, we're running out of room for the kids.
How many members do you have?
We have 50 members. Our average, though, is not during the summer because everybody loses a little bit in the summer. We average around 70 to 80 attendees.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Do you wish to offer any comment or input? You're here. For purposes of the record, would you also state your name and relationship to the church?
I'm Joyce Papich. I'm a member and have also been volunteering for the administrative things of the church. I run the computer program, the music, the sound system. So I'm involved with the deacons and the pastor and the congregation in getting information together.
Thank you for being here this evening.
Welcome.
All right, we will close the old business hearing for the old business for the petition by Grace Fellowship Church. The matter will be duly considered in a written report and findings issued. What's that? Oh, there's no vote tonight.
So
I will
there's no
defer-
vote. He'll issue a recommendation and I will provide you a copy of that once it's received. That recommendation will then be forwarded to the county board for their final vote. That's where the vote will take place.
Old dog needs to learn new tricks.
Mhm. All right, our next matter this evening, I will open the new business, which is petition number 25-AP-1 by Douglas W. Stewart as owner of certain real property identified as PIN number 15-07-15-127-011 in Nelson Township. Mr. Stewart has filed an appeal of the Lee County Zoning Administrator's final decision and determination dated November 18, 2024. Parcel is currently zoned Ag 1 Rural Agricultural District and is approximately 0.16 acres in size. You are Mr. Stewart?
Yep.
If you would be so kind as to state your full name,
Doug Stewart?
and you are the property owner?
Yes.
Right, Mr. Stewart, my name is Tim Zollinger. I'm the hearing officer in this matter. We will proceed in an informal process this evening. I am going to first give a few words of introduction to explain the process. Then I will turn it over to the zoning administrator for presentation of her underlying determination and any information or documents that she wishes to offer. When she is concluded, you may ask her any questions that you may have relevant to this proceeding. If I have questions, I will also duly ask her. Once she is completed, then I will turn it over to you for any presentation you wish to make. And then when that's concluded, if the zoning administrator has questions for you, she can ask them. If I have questions for you, I can also inquire.
Okay.
When that's all done, if you have any additional argument or comment you wish to make, please let me know so I can make sure we hear from you. I want to make sure that you are heard on this petition this evening. And then we will conclude the public hearing at that time.
Okay.
Any questions?
Not yet.
All right, fair enough. I will turn it over to the zoning administrator for her presentation.
Sorry, bear with me just a moment. Okay, name again, Alice Hinkle, zoning administrator. Last year, Mr. Stewart came to the zoning office, in wanting to have a camper on a property. In order to establish electricity at the property, he would need an address. Because of the type of use, is not a permanent use nor a principal use, we did not issue an address for that property. The determination that I made explained that if his recreational vehicle were to remain at his parcel more than 30 days in a 90-day period, that he would be in violation of the following: establishing a mobile home in the Ag 1 district, establishing a residence in the Ag 1 district without first obtaining a LISA, establishing a residence in the Ag 1 district without first obtaining proper permits, and establishing a residence on a parcel that does not meet the minimum lot size requirements. Then this year, Mr. Stewart filed an appeal on June 10th, appealing this determination. Jonathan has pulled up a picture of the property on the screen behind you. The parcel is located in Nelson Township. It is zoned Ag 1 Rural Agricultural District.
You have any exhibits you wish to offer?
Yes, I had prepared an answer to Mr. Stewart's appeal, and I have provided both a copy to you and to Mr. Stewart this evening.
I'm going to mark that as zoning administrator exhibit number 1. Mr. Stewart, did you get a copy?
Yeah.
Do you have any?
This one right here, right?
Correct. Do you have any objection to that being admitted and made part of the record?
No.
Any other exhibits?
I have no other exhibits, but
I have a copy that was provided to me of a decision issued November 18, 2024. That's the decision that's being appealed.
yes, yes.
So I'm going to mark that as exhibit 2 so we can
Okay.
keep track of it. And Mr. Stewart, do you have any concerns or objections to that being made part of the record?
No.
Is exhibit number 1 a copy of the appeal?
No, I made your answer. Sorry. We'll make exhibit 3 a
Got it.
copy of the appeal. And Mr. Stewart, I have a copy of your appeal that's signed June 4, 2025. It has a cover page, and then it looks like a letter that you authored, typewritten. My copy is not signed. Did you sign a copy, or was it submitted without signature?
It was submitted without signature.
Stewart, would you come up here? I just want to make sure I have the right, since it's not signed. Will you confirm for me that that is the appeal you filed? You don't need to sign it. I just want to make sure the record's clear that it was yours. There were no additional documents or exhibits that accompanied this. Is that accurate? Okay, thank you. So the record will include and duly consider zoning administrator exhibits 1, 2, and 3. Any further presentation at this time?
So there were a couple of issues involved in this, and so I guess I just need to make sure that we've covered all of the bases. So one, the addressing, Lee County does not have this written into the ordinance how we distribute addresses. It is an office policy in which we do not issue addresses to parcels that do not have a permanent principal structure on them or a building permit to establish one.
There is no code for that either?
Well, hold on, Mr. Stewart.
Oh.
You'll get a chance to ask her a
Oh.
question, but let's let her finish first, okay?
So we did reach out to several counties, specifically DeKalb County, LaSalle County, Whiteside County, Ogle County, Bureau County, and Stevenson County, and Logan County. They all follow the similar policy. They do not have this written into their code. It is an office policy that they administer when the request is made. I do have copies of the notes that were taken by the intern that is working for our zoning office at this time. I can submit that as an exhibit if you wish.
The notes are the indication of other counties that have a similar practice or policy.
Yes,
Mr. Stewart, do you have, the zoning administrator has tendering a copy of those notes. We'll mark them as zoning administrator 4. Do you have any objection to that being considered by me as part of this case?
Yes.
All right, can you state your objection for me?
Well, there ain't no policy, or there ain't no code. You just can't make policies up, can you?
Well, the
Even
zoning,
even though she did call a bunch of different counties and they say, we have the same policy, that doesn't, in my view, that doesn't hold water. You know, it's not written.
so let's take your objection to make sure I understand it correctly. You're not contending that the notes she has are not true and accurate copy of the notes taken by the intern, are you? They're true and accurate
I'm not-
copies?
I'm not questioning that.
Okay, and you're not questioning the zoning administrator's statement of what her office policy is?
I have a question about that.
Well, do you agree or disagree that she has stated that to be her office policy?
That she stated it?
Well, she's telling you, let's
I
be
don't
clear.
wanna,
Can you restate the office policy or practice?
yes, it is the office policy that we do not issue an address to parcels that do not have a permanent principal structure on them or a building permit to establish one at that property.
And you are offering zoning administrator 4 as an exhibit to show that it was your research your office's research that determined other counties similarly situated have a similar policy and practice.
Yes,
And you're not contending that it's part of a code written somewhere, correct?
correct.
All right. So, Mr. Stewart, I'm going to accept it into the record and give it the due weight and consideration that it might be entitled to. I acknowledge your argument that it is not part of Lee County Code. But the zoning administrator has testified that it is her office policy and practice, and she's simply offering that other counties follow a similar practice and procedure. And I'll accept that testimony on its face for what she says it is, okay? Anything else from the zoning administrator?
None, I believe all other issues are covered in my answer.
Mr. Stewart, do you have any questions for the zoning administrator?
I do.
All right, you may ask her questions.
Is it your policy to call ComEd and tell them, no, don't do that?
I did not call ComEd.
I got proof that you did.
Well, we're not going to argue, Mr. Stewart. If you want to ask her a question, you can ask her a question.
Somebody from my office may have, but I am not the one
Somebody
that
from
did
your
that.
office or yourself.
Somebody from my office, I do
Called
believe,
ComEd
yes,
and told them not to do it.
yes.
You did that?
That would be the building official that did that, not myself.
Not your office?
He is with the zoning office. It is the zoning, or the building and zoning office now.
Is that common practice?
In cases of concern, yes.
Ain't that overstepping your office?
Well,
Like calling
a-
ComEd?
again, Mr. Stewart, you need to ask her factual questions to gather information.
I'm
It's
trying
not
to
a,
find out.
it's not, well, then ask her a question. You asked her if her office contacted ComEd, she's answered that question, okay? So please ask her a question, but we're not, it's not a debate between the two of you. I'm the one that gets to decide, okay? Please proceed with questions.
What's it say about 2 lots? About the camper itself?
I don't know, understand the
If I
question.
own the 2 lots side by side, what's the office say about the camper? I can have it out there or no?
No.
No.
Uh,
With 2 lots?
So under the code, as we've discussed, and you've been reporting with me, you're allowed to have the camper on the property for a maximum of 30 days in a 90-day period. So if you had 2 lots and you combine them, you would still be able to have the camper there for 30 days in a 90-day period.
What about the other campers out there?
That is an issue that that my office is working to address.
They've been out there for years and they don't move. The
And
one I'm talking about is on Canal Street.
correct, I'm aware
and
of the
that's in flood
issue,
zone.
but my office is working as quickly as we can to resolve that issue.
Can I get updates on that?
If you would like, you're free to call in at any point in time and ask for an update.
So when can I have it out there for more than 90 days? Or 30 days or whatever?
You cannot under the current code.
Even if I have a garage there?
You would not be able to establish a garage at that parcel because you don't have an established principal use. A garage similar to your camper is considered accessory. So if your camper stays at the property more than 30 days in that 90-day period, under our code, we consider that a mobile home. Mobile homes are not allowed in the ag district, even if you had 2 lots. Did that answer that question?
Yeah.
Okay.
That's about all I got.
Is that all the questions you have, Mr. Stewart?
Yeah, and I like to say that I called the health department and they said I could have water and a holding tank out there. So if I can have water out there, how am I supposed to power the well if I can't have power? Like, I don't understand the little power. It's power. It's going to be on a pedestal. It's not going to be attached to a building.
Correct.
I'm just asking for variance on that.
So unfortunately, our code is very specific as to what qualifies under our variance code, and that is specific to bulk regulations. While it is my opinion that I don't think you meet the burden of proof for what would be required for a variance, you're more than welcome to file a petition and have it heard before the zoning hearing officer.
What's that mean, burden of proof?
It would be your obligation to prove that you meet the code in order to receive a variance.
That I meet the code.
Correct. So our ordinance spells out very specific reasons why you can ask for a variance. So you would have to prove that you meet one of those stipulations that are set forth in our code.
So what do you consider a permanent resident?
It has to be, it cannot be a mobile home, and it has to be affixed to the ground on a permanent frost-free foundation.
On a what foundation?
Permanent frost-free foundation.
Frost free.
Frost.
That below the grade, right?
Correct.
Okay, and.
Or
is there
slab.
a square footage thing?
Yes, the minimum square footage is a minimum of 800 square feet. There is additionally a requirement that the parcel size must be a minimum of 2 acres to establish a home, a residence on it.
2 acres. I thought 2 lots.
No, it's a minimum of 2 acres, and that has to do with the health department to establish well and septic. They require a minimum of 1 acre. or a minimum of 2 acres. So our bulk requirement for the lot size for building a home is consistent with what the health department requires to
I
establish
already called the health department.
a well and septic for a
And they
residence.
said I could, on that one lot,
For a residence or for a camper?
for the water and septic, or water and holding thing.
Mr. Stewart, what I would tell you is tonight, you may have called the Lee County Health Department, but
I did.
tonight's hearing
What's
is
that?
about your appeal of a prior determination denying you issuance of an address. That's what this hearing is about, okay?
Yeah,
If you want to, what the zoning administrator is trying to tell you is you have a right to ask for a variance, but you need to start at the beginning of that process. That's not up for debate tonight. Okay, tonight, the only question that I'm being presented with is your appeal of her prior determination. Okay? Anything else you want to offer? I'll give you a chance to argue in a minute, but any other factual information you want to offer?
well, I am following her, the county's, thing for the 30 days. I email her and tell her when I'm gonna be out there and when I leave. So there ain't no, people telling her something else.
Appreciate that. Any other factual pieces of information you want to offer?
My neighbors don't have any problem with it for getting power there.
Do you have any written documents you want to submit from their surrounding properties that you want me to consider? Okay,
Would that help?
I'm just asking whether you have it. Does the state's attorney's office have any questions for Mr. Stewart?
I don't have any questions. No, thank you.
Mr. Stewart, I have a few questions just so I can understand. The decision that was issued, that you're appealing, was issued to you in November of 2024, but you filed no appeal for almost, well, in excess of 6 months. Can you explain the delay?
I didn't know anything about appeals.
What-
Until recently.
Okay.
So I thought I'd give it a shot.
That's a fair response. Thank you. And do you understand that the decision that was issued was to deny you issuance of an address?
I don't have an address.
Correct. The county wouldn't issue you one based on the office policy that the zoning administrator has recited.
They have power. I need an address.
Well, the county doesn't issue you power. The county would issue you an address, as I understand it. ComEd then would decide whether to issue, install power.
I already talked to ComEd. They said they would install power for me.
If there was an address.
No,
Okay.
they don't need an address.
So I guess my next question is, what is it you're appealing then if you feel the ComEd will give you power anyway?
What was that?
What are you appealing then if you believe ComEd's going to issue you power?
I just wanted to see what was going on. Did they give me a variance or not?
Well, tonight's not about a variance. Tonight's about you appealed her decision
Or my
not,
appeal get approved or whatever.
okay.
I'm not a lawyer.
No, I understand. And I think the zoning administrator is trying to tell you that you have a right to petition for a variance.
Can I have a variance? Can I have a
I don't
variance?
have the authority to issue you a variance.
How you do that?
You have to file a petition for variance, and there's a process for that. And then there would be a report and finding on that issue.
Can I go through her office?
Yes, you would go through her office. I think the zoning administrator is trying to be kind and let you know that you have a right to file that. But right now, based on the current usage, would have some concern about whether you meet the required elements for a variance under the Lee County Code. Okay, do you understand that?
Yeah.
Hey, Mr. Stewart, have you received any citations for use, improper usage of the property? And can you explain why you believe electricity is necessary for your usage of the property?
To power a well.
Any other reason?
In my camper.
Does your camper run on batteries or LP? What,
It runs on electricity and LP.
the refrigerator in the camper would run on LP? It's, the furnace would,
Or electricity,
what's that?
or electricity.
Automatically switch over depending on what's available?
Yeah.
The same for the furnace?
That's LPO.
And is there a water pump in the camper?
There is a water pump.
And is there a holding tank for water?
Yes. Not much,
What's the size of the holding tank?
15 gallons,
So what's the size of the water heater?
6 gallons.
What's the size of the gray water tank?
Gotta say 20. Not sure.
Black?
Same.
10?
Same, 20.
Oh, 20. And can you give me some understanding or of the dimensions or what the camper is?
It's a 30-foot camper. It's a bumper pull, they call it.
A bumper pole?
Bumper pull. It's a, it pulls behind the truck, not on top of it, not a fifth.
Got it. You tow it, you don't
Yeah, I
put it in
tow it.
like a fifth wheel.
Not a fifth.
What's the model? What's the brand?
It's a, Forest River,
Forest River?
yes,
And the age?
2011.
And that is registered with Secretary of State, has plates. And when it's not, when you're not using it for your 30 days in the 90-day period on this lot, where do you park or store it?
At my house,
Okay, and what's that address?
1720 Delroy Avenue, Delroy Avenue, Rockford.
Rockford? And at the subject address that we're here tonight to talk about, is there any kind of concrete slab, or what do you park the camper on when it's there?
Well, if I could have it out there longer, I would get a concrete slab.
Well, let's talk about what there is now.
There's nothing.
Do you have a gravel spot or something you've improved?
I just park it on 2 boards. Just the wheels.
And how long have you owned the lot?
November. Right? November?
You bought this lot in November of 2024?
Yes.
Are you the sole owner of the lot?
Yes.
Any questions from the zoning administrator based on the questions I've asked?
Yes, with regards to the holding or the waste tanks, where are those being discharged at?
I don't have any.
I think she's asking about your camper's holding tanks.
They're on the camper.
So when they're full, where do you discharge them?
In a dump station, either over there at Jeff Wright, or I take it back to Rockford.
Okay, nothing further.
Any questions in the state's attorney's office?
No, I don't have any questions. Thank you.
And we have no visitors or observers online that want to participate or ask questions?
He is the zoning intern.
Okay. All right. I have no further questions, Mr. Stewart. I want to give you the full opportunity to offer any additional argument or comment you wish to make. So earlier I said ask questions. Well, we're beyond that now. Now you may certainly present your argument to me and tell me why you disagree with the zoning administrator. Tell me why you feel her
Well,
points are invalid. Okay, please.
Well, she said that I need an address to get power. And I called ComEd and they said that they would give me power without an address. They already got the pole out there. And then when she called ComEd and told them not to do it, they called me and told me that. I think that was overstepping her bounds.
Okay.
Especially when there's other campers out there doing the same thing. Might not be on one lot, but it's 2 lots. I know it's 2 lots for sure. And they've been out there for years and they don't move. Fair is fair, right?
I'm listening.
That's what I think. You know, if you gotta be lenient on one party and not me, then that's not fair.
Any other argument or comment you wish to offer? Any argument or comment from the zoning administrator?
I guess I want to state that I've only been in my position since January of 2024. Yes, there are some things out in the county that existed prior to my coming into office. We are slowly working through those as time allows. We are currently working with the state's attorney's office to create a zoning violation process that includes the notice of of apparent violation and a citation that would result in a court date. So that is how we are proceeding.
Any argument or comment from the state attorney's office?
I have none. Thank you.
All right, Mr. Stewart, I'm going to close your hearing unless you have any additional evidence or comment you wish to make.
What was that, I'm supposed to go to your office for?
Variance.
Variance. Could you send that to me in an email or do I have to get it to your office?
So I'll explain it to you. It's going to be a very similar process as this. However, there is a $750 filing fee for that.
Why is that?
So to file a zoning petition in Lee County, so whether it's a special use permit, a map amendment request, or a variance, the cost is $750 for the hearing. And that is used to cover the costs of,
What are taxes used for? I already paid taxes. Why do I gotta pay $700 for a
because
variance?
that is what the ordinance requires.
Are the petition for variance documents available on the website for Mr. Stewart?
I will double check right now. I'm not seeing that form, so I have Mr. Yes, actually, it is available under the zoning tab. It's under that tab, there is one called zoning forms, and there is a variance petition form. However, if you're not able to locate it, I'm more than happy to send it to you
Yeah, could
by
you?
email.
Could you? Please.
So, Mr. Stewart, I will duly consider the information that the zoning minister has provided me, her exhibits, your input, your comment, your testimony this evening. Once I've done that, applying the county code and the applicable Illinois law, I will issue a report and recommendation with findings back to the county. And then that will be duly considered at the appropriate time by the county board. Well, no, I'm
Actually,
sorry.
correction, you are the final.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I said that because I repeated myself from earlier. I will issue a decision with my findings and ultimate conclusion, okay? Any questions? Sorry, I read my same sentence from earlier. My apologies. All right, if there's no further questions, I'm going to close the hearing regarding Mr. Stewart's appeal, and a decision will issue in due course.
I'll get a letter or something
You will get a copy of the decision. That's correct.
in a week or two or
As soon as he submits it to my office, I will forward you a copy.
I'm going to tell you within a couple of weeks is likely. Yeah, probably within a couple of weeks. Okay,
All right,
thank you.
that it?
And then I'll also pull up the ordinance